here's our answer, and it should be everybody's answer, in my opinion. The car's a total.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Airing of Grievances. My name is Reamer and that's Robert Grieve, and it is our pleasure to have you along with us today. We always thank you for taking time out of your day to join us for ours. And you know, if you're a first timer here, gosh, we especially are grateful for you to
Amen.
Check out and see what we're doing. This the Airing of Grievance series is for you, the consumer, the driving public, if you will. And of course, we have some industry giants among our
Many
regular watchers, and we thank them for coming in and tuning in. And you can actually interact with them and us live on Saturday mornings at 9:30 a.m. here in the Mountain Standard Time as we do the premiere. That is the first airing of this video. Rob and I are always there chatting it up with you, and we love to interact with you. So
Amen.
If you missed the premiere, come connect with us through the comments. We love that as well.
Sometimes we have to start over because Janelle is late.
That's all him. Janelle's always on time. We're
Yes.
sometimes a little early.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yes. All right.
I'm mistaken.
All right. With that, I say, Robert, happy Saturday to
Happy
you.
Saturday to you, my dear friends. Thanks so much for tuning in and joining us for this. Again, you know, we try to pare it down to put it in consumer speak.
Yeah.
So you can know the potholes and different things that happen that you need to be engaged in to repair with.
Yeah.
So,
If you ever need the services of a collision center, body shop, call it what you will, you want to know the things that we teach on a regular basis here.
and ask lots of questions. There's the only dumb question is one's not asked.
That's a great response. And please don't be a dumb butt. Yeah.
Thanks, brother.
All right. With that being the stage being set, now let's talk a little bit about a BMW that has come into our shop, and it requires a little more than meets the eye.
Significant.
Yeah.
It's a significant repair. And so the question becomes, well, let's frame it this way. If you listen to this series long enough, you know that we're always referring to the OEM or the manufacturer's repair procedures.
Yes.
And the truly dire need to use those and fix the car the way the manufacturer has laid it out in their service manuals.
We do it one way, and that way is the correct way per the OEM, the original equipment manufacturer specifications.
But here the question becomes, what happens if there is no procedure? What happens if the OEM or the manufacturer has a part built into the vehicle that needs to be replaced, but there's no procedure to replace it? What happens next?
Wow, I can't wait to hear the end of this.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to give you our answer in a few minutes, but first we're going to walk through a little bit of a case study.
All right.
So let's bring up this BMW.
Oh, there it is.
And
that looks like it got hit pretty hard.
yeah, it got whacked pretty good. And naturally the fender is off of this. And behind the fender, you can see all this structural stuff.
Yep.
Lots of metal, different types. It's crazy, and they're all have different attaching methods. And
Attaching to the frame.
well, attaching to each other.
Oh, okay.
And when we talk about attaching methods, if you're putting a fender on a car, the attaching method generally is nuts and bolts.
Okay.
Okay? Put a headlight in and out, the attaching method is bolts,
Sure.
right? When you're doing these welded structures, of all these pieces coming together, you can see lots of different pieces coming together
Yes.
in this picture. Now there are different attaching methods for could be a multitude of different parts. Could be different types of welds, whether it be spot welds or MIG mag welds or silicon brazing, or it may be rivets, rivet bonding, which is with a two-part structural adhesive in many cases. There's a ton of different ways that these pieces can get attached, and there could be a ton of different ways right in just this little section right here.
And now you said there are a ton of different ways that these pieces could be attached, but there could quite possibly be a ton of different ways that these pieces must be attached.
And that's the purpose of the procedures, because this is a safety item.
Yeah.
So, and it is clearly damaged. So what we did here was we cut away a piece at the bottom. So when you're seeing this lighter gray area with all those holes,
Yep.
that's behind this top layer that you can see.
I see.
So I'm going to zoom in here. There's the cuts that you can clearly see.
Yep.
And you can see that piece is clearly significantly damaged.
Yes.
And there's more than one piece. You can see that there's some spot welds here, and it's attached to another piece and attached to a different piece over there.
Yep.
So here's the thing. There's a procedure for the outer piece that we cut.
Okay.
All right. And this picture shows what it looks like. It's the whole side of the car.
Yeah.
Now, some manufacturers will let you section pieces of this in, but you have to go to a repair manual to know that.
Okay.
And exactly where to cut and how to weld it back on, or rivet bond, or, there's so many different types, but they're very specific with the manufacturer on how they want that piece put in. Looking here at the car, you can see the spot that we're looking at up front by the tire.
Right.
But we're actually looking at, to do the repairs on that, replacing the whole outer side. See, I opened up
That's
the door
whole
so you
driver's
can see.
side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which that's a very big job, and there's procedures on how to put that on.
The outside.
The outside.
Yeah.
The inside, there is no procedures. That's a reinforcement. So the outside gives it strength, the reinforcement gives it lots of strength, and that's if somebody hits you on the side, it's not going to intrude into the cockpit, if you will.
Right.
Into the passenger space. That's the whole purpose of why these things are machined and built the way they are.
Okay.
Is to protect the consumers. It directs load path
Energy.
or energy so that it goes away from the consumer or the driving public. Let's go back to this piece right there.
Yep.
There's no procedure to put that in. Some would say when there's no procedure present, then the procedure is you put the whole piece in as it comes from the factory, because you can buy that piece, using industry best practices.
Okay.
Not so much for me.
Now, that's interesting. Explain that, because industry best practices sound right.
Maybe, but if the manufacturer hasn't directed it, then where are these industry best practices, and are those best practices talking about this piece?
Yeah.
Are they talking about best practices in welding and mating panels and so on and so forth?
And some best practices for some types of welding are different than other best practices for other types of welding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see where it becomes kind of a crazy jumble.
Yeah. So let's talk about a piece that there is procedures for.
Okay.
And let's just talk about some of the things that they mention here. So we'll show this little picture, and that's close to here, but it's not everything that's needed.
I see.
Okay? Because this one is really for putting the outer plate on.
Got it.
And I want to just call out some phrases that they use for putting that small piece in.
Okay.
Adjust the new part, piece that you're going to put in, adjust the new part using an alignment bracket, which is probably a special tool from BMW,
All right.
or a universal fixture. which a universal fixture would be basically a copy of the bracket
Of the
that
bracket. Yep.
So you have to have something in order to know where to place it.
Right.
Keeping in mind that your door attaches to this, so if you don't put it in the right place, your door is not going to go in the right place.
Okay.
Here's a good one. Note, there are further spot welded adhesive joints in the area behind the joining flange. So there's a little hint. There's more to it than what meets the eyes. You have to read the procedures, rest of the procedures, to know where that is and what to do with it.
Yeah.
In the area 1, prepare a 20 millimeter long mag weld stream. That's pretty specific.
Yeah.
So right now we've mentioned a mag weld and a tool to align this part that's needed. What else do they have to say? Bonding surfaces of the new parts may not be sharpened or ground. That's normal. But they talk about bonding instructions. You need to go see more information on 41.00 BMW bonding instructions. So now we're welding
And bonding.
and bonding.
And not grinding.
No, well, you have to grind it so it's flat. That's
Oh, I
what
see.
they were trying to say.
I gotcha.
So there's no rough edges.
Gotcha.
Because if there's burrs, then it won't lay flat, and you got to prepare it very, very well.
All right.
Then it goes on to say, prepare area 1 for bonded rivet connection of steel on steel.
Now we have rivets,
So we have welding, we have mag welding,
right?
we have bonding,
Yep.
and now we have rivets. It goes on to say, in area 1, set 7 bores of 4.2 millimeter for blind rivet. So a specific kind of rivet. Do not drill through the production spot welds. There is just lots and lots of information of how they want that one small area attached.
Yeah.
And you're going to tell me you want me to attach a whole side of the car without these detailed instructions, because there are no detailed instructions. Just use industry best practices.
How can you proceed under those circumstances?
There are some that will. Sadly, there are some that'll put this outer panel on and not even fix that and cover it up, because you're never going to see it. You're going to have a welded panel on top of it. I hate to say that, but I've seen it. I've seen it in my post-repair inspections.
And if they don't repair that, that metal is fatigued already.
Yep.
And so
It's not going to act the way it's meant to act in a subsequent loss if it gets hit in that spot again. Energy path may not go exactly the way it's supposed to. There's
putting the occupants in the car at risk.
Yeah. So here's our answer, and it should be everybody's answer, in my opinion. The car's a total. Not to mention all the work, even if there was procedures for all those things.
Yeah.
The amount of work it would take to accomplish all that would be incredibly expensive.
Sure.
Now, this is an expensive car, and maybe it wouldn't be as much as the value of the car, so it wouldn't total, because there's a lot of expensive cars on the road. But if there is no procedure for an inner reinforcement to be attached to the car, I don't recommend you go by anything other than the OEM procedure. And if there isn't any, then I certainly would not. I'm not an engineer. Yes, we all have 30 years experience plus. These cars aren't 30 years old. They're newer technology, newer metals. They're very allergic to heat from welding,
Sure.
and you have to be specific in how you do it. And if there's no procedures on how they want that done, then as far as I'm concerned, the vehicle is a total loss.
Suffice it to say, we will not be repairing this vehicle.
No. Interestingly enough, the adjuster that came out to look at this vehicle, because we sent in a note, we didn't even update our estimate or supplement. We just sent a note saying this vehicle is a total loss, and come on out and we'll show you why.
Right.
And it took a week from when we sent that note for somebody to actually show up and look at it. Nobody did any research on it. We researched it. Found out that there's no procedures for this.
Sure.
Because we couldn't find any, so when we can't find them, we reach out to other experts. In this particular case, a BMW guy that only fixes brand new BMWs.
Yep.
And is BMW certified. He says, yeah, there's no procedure for that. Okay, there's nothing much left to talk about here, because you're not repairing that, and it needs to be replaced, and if there's no procedures, we're not replacing it.
There you go.
So in this particular case, the adjuster says there might be some procedures in the estimating system.
Oh, the estimating system.
Yeah.
That is not specific to BMWs, but
Well,
it estimates.
He's suggesting that there's procedures in the estimating system for that piece, for that car.
Will it be another week before he gets back to us and
More than likely.
lets us know
That there isn't any
that
procedures.
he can't find anything?
Yeah. This just slows down. This is every day on every car. Taking a week, and then you come in, you're unprepared. Now it's going to take another week. And I said to him, this is totally unfair to the consumer.
Yeah.
Totally unfair to the consumer. Not to mention, we're housing this car and going through all the effort, and it's just crazy stuff today.
All right.
But just wanted to share my thoughts on what happens when a piece there's no procedures for, and because we know how critical they are. I mean, you heard what some of these things are calling out for a small piece.
Right.
Imagine putting a whole
thing.
side on a car. So that's what I got for today, folks.
It's good
Hope
stuff.
you found it helpful, and there it is.
There you go. All right, if you have any questions about any of the things that we do here on the Airing of Grievances, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Here's our phone number, and we'll happily either help you find an answer to the question or guide you to somebody who can provide you that answer. And of course, if you haven't done it yet, if we've given you anything helpful to you at all, give that thumbs up.
Please.
That helps the YouTube algorithm recognize that this is valuable information that we should share with other people. Copy and share the link, and we will see you again next week. But before we do, happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday. My dear friends, I hope you have an amazing week. Hope you found value in this. See you next Saturday.